everyone, hope we're all well. Welcome to the new series. This is video 1 of the series. I'm not quite sure how many videos are going to be in the series just yet because there's quite a lot to cover, and I want to try and do it in bite-sized videos so you're not overwhelmed with so much information. So I'm going to do it step by step. This step is going to cover the very beginning, if you like. It's going to cover the FSX installation, mainly covering the original version, the deluxe version or the original boxed version. I know obviously there's FSX Steam out now, so that's a lot easier. It's like a one-click install. P3D's come out as version 2.5, version 3 just come out, so then they're going to be an easier install. But this installation video will also give you some perspective of how to maybe install the newer versions and how best to get the performance set up from the very beginning, so you're ahead of the game, as it were, because it's very important how you install Flight Simulator and get the computer working around it. So to start off with, we're going to be using these rules. So I know a lot of you have already got Flight Simulator installed with all your add-ons, aircraft, scenery, you name it, you've got it, and there's gigabytes and gigabytes, terabytes probably for some of you, of data that would need to be, if you were to do a fresh install, there'll be a lot of work to be done and a lot of time spent. But if you do ever get to the chance or the position where you do need to reinstall FSX, this is the recommended installation based on Microsoft's own recommendations and the Flight Simulator gurus around the internet, on the forums, etc. And this is the way I always do it. So if you're doing to get to a position where you need to reinstall, use this guide. If you're not in a position to reinstall, you don't want to do it, future videos will explain how to tidy up your computer and get to a position where you can hopefully make your computer work a little bit better for what you want. So the first thing to do is, if you've got the gold edition like I have, which is the original one, FSX Gold Edition, I think it's still available online to buy, although you might as well get Steam version now. But Gold Edition didn't come with all the service packs. FSX Acceleration did come with the service pack, so that would be a different install again, but the theory's still the same, as I say. So the first thing to do, if you're doing with the Deluxe or you're not sure you've got the service packs, is to download the service packs. Now these can be found on the internet here at Microsoft.com. Products, games. I'll put a link in the video at the bottom in the description, so you've got access to the activation patch, because that was a problem as well with people putting in the activation code on the disk and it wasn't activating, especially if you're reinstalling on a new computer or a fresh install. You've got Service Pack 2, so you'll need to download that if you start from the very beginning, and Service Pack 1. So from there we go back to all this. So you've gathered the service packs, you've got them downloaded, they're ready to go. Next thing I recommend doing, especially if you have uninstalled everything and you're going for a brand new, right, that's it, fresh install of Flight Simulator. Once you've done installed it all, defrag the computer, especially the drive you're going to be using. Now a lot of computers these days have got 2-3 drives. It's best to give Flight Simulator its own drive. So if you can, try and keep it off the C drive or the C partition of your drive if you've got partitions across one drive, and give it its own specific folder, which is what we're going to do now. So defrag everything, make sure the computer's nice and clean, it's all tidied up, ready for a big, because it's going to get a massive influx of data. So the next thing to do is go to your start computer. I've got 3 disks, C drive, E drive and an expansion drive, which has got all my media in now, so I won't be going into there. But my FSX drive is an E drive. So if you've got a setup like this, where you've got C drive for obviously your Windows operating system, pick the next drive if it's free. Obviously if you've got a lot of other games than that, you might have to toy around with how you want to do this, but I've got mine on E. So rather than just let Flight Simulator install into anywhere at once, the best thing to do is to go onto your E drive, create a folder in that drive called Microsoft Flight Simulator or FSX or whatever you choose, as long as you know that it's the Flight Simulator folder. And then when you start installing the program, you can just direct it straight to that folder and everything will be set to there, and it's nice and easy and nice and smooth. So that's one recommendation. Back to the list. So once you've created the FSX folder, you can then point it to that folder and install Flight Simulator X from the disk or the download, etc. Once you've installed it, it's best to run it. It's a fresh install. Run it. Let it excuse me. Let it meet and greet the computer. Let it get to know the software, the hardware. Just let it run. Even if you just park it up at an airport somewhere, let it run for half an hour, let it gather all the information it needs. Then once you've done that, you can exit the flight and it's best then to reboot the PC. It's taken on, the PC's taken on a lot of information, it's just taken on a brand new program. It's best to reboot it, let it reset itself so it's not got an overload of information that's going to get corrupted when you install further things along the line. So once you've run it, reboot it, and then we can go ahead and install Service Pack 1. So the Service Pack you've installed, open that up, install it, point it to the right place to go. It's all pretty simple, the wizard. Any problems, let me know, and I'll see what I can do to help you. So Service Pack 1 installed, same again, run FSX. It's new. It wants to know what's going on. The computer wants to know what it's just been installed on it. Run it half an hour, sat in an airport, you can go and do something else, make a cup of tea, have lunch, have a shower, go for a run. Just let it run, settle down, then exit the flight simulator again, and then reboot the PC. Same again, you get to install the Service Pack 2 this time. Acceleration when it comes to Service Pack 2, so you'll be at this sort of point once you install acceleration. If you've got that version, you'll be at this point straight away. Once you've installed it, run it again. 15, 20, half an hour. Let it meet and greet the computer, let it get to know where it's at, get surroundings, settle in, exit the flight simulator, reboot the PC. Then from this point on, you can then start installing all your add-on scenery. So how I do it is to install all your scenery and then make sure they're updated. You want to make sure all your scenery is updated, and then you can't get anything corrupt, you can't get any files missing, and everything's going to work. Well, it should work to the best of its ability. If you have any problems with certain software, you'll have to go to the best places to go are onto the forums, or on to find out if the issue is just isolated to you or it's an issue across the software itself. Once you've done that, you're happy with all that, you can install all your third-party aircraft. Make sure they're updated as well. You don't want anything that's out of date because it might cause issues. And then you can install your utilities. Now, excuse me, if you really want to and you're really OCD, you can install all your scenery, reboot the PC, let it have a breath of fresh air, especially if you've got loads to do. So especially if you're doing quite a lot, it's probably best to do 4 or 5 big chunks, especially if it's Orbex, etc. Give it a bit of a breather, reboot the PC, let it reset itself, install some more, and the same again for aircraft. If you're going through a whole load, or even if you don't have to do it all in one hit. You can say, right, I'll do 3 or 4 today, and I'll do some more tomorrow. I'll do the ones I really want to use in the near future today, and I'll add the next ones further on down the line. Once you've gotten all that, you can install utilities. So that'll be like your vPilot, your EFB, your Navigraph stuff, everything that you use in the background of Flight Simulator to make your experience the best you can be, what you want it to be. So after all that, again, important thing, reboot the PC, let it refresh itself, have a bit of a breather, so on and so on. Once you've rebooted it, it's best to, it's got all that information we put on it. That disk you've chosen or folder you've chosen is going to be full of it, especially if you've got lots and lots. It's going to be, there's chunks of data all over the place, and the best thing to do is just to defrag that, tidy all that up, because it's going to be scattered all over. Tidy it all up, consolidate it, and if you go to it, there's going to be a link to one of my defrag videos. I use a program called Ultimate Defrag, which lets you choose where you want the files to go. And that video will explain everything you want to do in that program, so I'll give a link to that in the description as well. So defrag the PC, give it a good old clean up, and then you can reboot it, and then you're ready to run Flight Simulator X again. So after everything's installed, or you've installed what you need to install, defrag, reboot, run Flight Simulator, and then you can start playing with the settings. You might want to give it a test run on its own after everything's been installed, make sure it's working right, because once you do install stuff, you'll get the trusted software alerts that for your configuration file. Do you trust this? Do you trust that gauge? Do you want to load this? Do you want to install that? So you've got to go through all that, get all that cleared up, then you can run FSX and start enjoying it. Like I say, if you're doing acceleration pack, you're going to be coming in here somewhere. FSX Steam Edition and the P3D, you're going to be coming in at Service Pack 2, and then you can go from this point. So you go from step 10 onwards, install them, run them, let them get to know each other, reboot, and then you can start adding little bits here and there. You can either do it all in one hit, like I say, or just do it over time. Whatever's, everyone's time limits are different. It's what you want to do, or how impatient you can be sometimes to get everything on there. But take your time and make sure you follow these steps, then you should have a nice smooth running Flight Simulator ready to tweak. So this is the first steps I've been using. or I've used when I've installed. This is the steps you can use if you do want to reinstall. If you don't want to reinstall, then the next video is going to show you a few things we do to just clean up the PC, ready for preparing it for tweaking. So I hope that's been helpful for you. Any questions, let me know, and thanks again for watching.